Friends, and I am raw to the bone. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Happy hump day. I know I'm late, but like I said, be patient with me these next couple of months because I got a lot of shit going on mentally. I got a lot of other shit spinning. And so I'm kind of just going with the flow of how I feel. But I'm here, y'all. I'm here. I'm going to start y'all out with the positive vibes because it's going to be a what?
Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun.
Hey.
Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up,
Today's going to be a good day. Wake up.
today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Ha. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do.
The aftermath of preparation.
Hey, good food, good mood.
Blood in circulation.
One step at a time.
Yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them.
I gotta
pick one thought, have some concentration.
And if I make a mistake, it's called
education.
I try to do this every day and call it replication. What?
Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Life ain't easy, yo. I think there's a reason, though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo.
Negative thoughts.
Some poison they ride.
Hey.
And full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap
All the bad for the good in my head.
when I'm lost.
What? Hey, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive vibes.
Are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. So flow, you grow, you show yourself the foundation. Stay away from all the shit because it's temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation.
I live my life in my head.
Like a narration.
Don't expect greatness through my best. Hey, Mika.
Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing on this hump day? You know, it's a short week and I appreciate it. I appreciate any additional time I get off of work. But more so, you know, I'm trying to appreciate life more and more. And life has been lifing for me, right? But for whatever reason, I stay in a positive mood and mode because things always work out for me in the end, right? No matter how hard I have to work on stuff, things always work out for me in the end. And I got a lot of things to do today, right? And I'm going to do it smiling, right? And finally, and this might sound weird, but you know, stepping into the truth and living your life authentically and organically and being honest about how you feel and not tolerating any bullshit or nonsense. Oh, it feels so good. It do. It feels so good. For so many years, I swallowed things that I want to say. People I want to say it to, I wouldn't say it because I always was afraid of losing people or hurting people's feelings. But the one thing that I've learned is over the years, some people didn't mind hurting my feelings, right? And so I'm not going to change who I am, who I am at the core. But what I will do is not allow my inside voice to be silenced or silenced. I should say that. Silence, because what the fuck is silenced? Silence. I will not allow my inside voice to be silenced anymore. And I truly believe that those that love me and respect me would come out of their own selfish, narcissistic ways, okay? And understand that what I'm saying, if I say it to you, is not to hurt you. It's just for you to step into the room of accountability. It's my honesty about you or something you've done to me, right? And, one of the things that I also realize is that, and I knew this was going to come, right? When I tell my stories, you see, I've told stories about cousins on my mother's side, and none of them has ever reached out to me and said anything to me, because you know why? They know their asses. They know what the fuck could they say to me? See, I tell people all the time, I have a right to say my truth. I have a right to say how I feel. No one else has the right to come into my life and tell me how to feel. You cannot invalidate my feelings, right? If I don't call you and say anything to you directly, don't call me jumping out the box at me, right? If you sit in the corner and you say, oh, I heard Robin say this, that, and another thing, but you know it doesn't apply to you, move right the fuck along. And if it does apply to you and you feel it applies to you, sit the fuck in the corner and think about how you're going to approach me if you want to step into the room of accountability, right? I had a conversation with my son the other day. This is true, right? And I have always tried to be the peacemaker in my family, in his family, because his dad has a family too. His dad passed on, but his dad has a family. And so, when I was talking to my son the other day and I told him about something that happened in the family recently and how somebody called me and was all hostile about some shit I said on my show. And I said to him, I said, you know what? I'm tired, right? I'm tired of not expressing how I feel, right? And he said, and I said, and I don't give a fuck how other people feel about what I say, because these are my feelings, right? And what we need to do as a population of people is stop fucking trying to invalidate somebody else's feelings. Stop trying to put your perspective on somebody else. If you don't understand their feelings, then ask. But if you come at me defensive about anything that I've said, you're going to get the fuck you attitude. Because I'm not the same me that I was. My inside voice is very loud. Right? And there are people in my family that know for damn sure I'm not talking about them. And those are the ones that wouldn't reach out to me because they know for sure I'm not talking about them, because there are a portion of family members in my family that does support me. But then there are those who don't. Right? And so if you call me all upset, I'm going to be scratching my head and asking myself, do you think you fit that shoe? Don't call me with an attitude. These are my feelings. Okay? This is the reason why I created this platform, Coffee with Friends, to talk about my feelings, my life, and hopefully other people can identify with that and give them a platform to speak their truth, their pain, their struggles, right? I always said from the beginning of time, if people want me to tell good stories about them, then be fucking good to me. But see, I'm not the good storyteller only. I'm the truth storyteller. Okay? I'm not just the storyteller. I'm the truth storyteller. And I try not to mention names on here, but I do tell the truth about the things that I've experienced in my life. And some people are going to recognize those experiences and they're going to be upset that I said what I said. It doesn't eliminate the truth of it. You could be upset all you want, right? Because I used to be the one upset, quieting my inside voice, but that's not happening anymore. You see, in the conversation that I had with my son yesterday on his birthday, he said to me, Ma, I remember, true story. He says, you used to push me to be a part of the family. You pushed me. Good morning, Cheryl. You pushed me to connect with our family. You used to push me to connect with my dad's side of the family, and I never agreed with it, and he didn't. He used to always say to me as a kid, why am I reaching out to them? I'm the kid. And I used to be like, no, but you got to reach out. You got to talk to them. Because I was always trying to be the peacemaker, trying to keep people in our lives, right? And grown ass me at 57 years old finally learned that fuck that, that's bullshit. A child is not a child's responsibility to keep trying to attach itself to a family that's not trying to attach to him. It's not. Good morning, Smokey. It is not a child's responsibility to connect themselves to a family that's not trying to connect to him. And so yesterday when we had this conversation, he was like, Mom, you always tried to keep the family together. You always tried to get me to engage. But were they trying to engage with me? I said, Roundtree, you are absolutely correct. It is not a child's responsibility to connect with his uncles and his aunts and shit like that. It is for them to connect. Okay? And he also said to me, family is an overused word. He said relatives is more like it. He says, see, family is different than relatives. Relatives are people that are just related to you. They don't do shit for you. You don't have no interaction with them. You don't have nothing with them. They just related to you. Those are relatives, right? Some people call them brothers, sisters. Some people call them aunts, uncles. They are relatives. If they don't have any part in your life, you know what I'm saying? They are relatives. They are. I asked my son yesterday, I said, how many of your relatives showed up for your kids' celebrations? And you know what my son said? He can count on maybe 3 fingers how many of our relatives showed up to any of his kids' celebrations. Okay? Now, we've shown up to other people's celebrations. We have. Celebrate their kids, celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate Christmas, do all this stuff, right? But when it comes to our celebrations, I had a whole birthday celebration for my birthday this year. Not one of my family members showed up to my birthday celebration. Only family member that was there was my son. Not one, right? But we've shown up to other people's birthday celebrations in the family. And so when he said to me, they're relatives, stop using the word family. That's not family, right? And so I know people in my relatives and my family are going to be scratching their head at me over these podcasts that I do, but I don't care, right? I don't care. Because when I did care, nobody else cared, right? And so I'm still going to continue to tell my truth on this platform. So relatives, family members, if you upset and you want to talk to me about it, call me. But call me with a talking voice. If you call me with an aggressive voice, or you're questioning my feelings, or you're trying to tell me I shouldn't feel this way, save your dime. Here's my number and a dime. You could call me anytime. No, you can't. Not with that attitude. Okay? Period. See, I I've gone through a journey in the last 3 years that has given me strength to deal with losing people, right? And when I look back on the people that I lost, what did I lose? Nothing. What did I gain? No, peace. I gained everything. Good morning, Quita. Are you new to Coffee with Friends? I gained everything. When I lost people over the last 3 years, I gained everything. I gained myself, my voice, and I'm developing a sense of peace because I'm no longer dragging around this heavy weight of my feelings. I know, Smokey, you say you have a bunch of relatives but no family. I went through the same thing. I remember, and this is a true story, and I love my grandmother to death. My father's mother. Now, my mama's mama, but my father's mother, I love her from the moon to back. She was the matriarch of our family. She held us together. But I remember, you know how I always said that the children are treated based on where your parents placed in the family? So I never felt like my dad really placed high up in the family. He was loved, right? But he came with his own set of troubles. So he wasn't placed that high up in the family, right? And my mom definitely was the black sheep of the family because she was always the come the fuck outside and fight type person, right? She was always revved up. And so my grandmother had headaches over my mom. And even though my grandmother loved her family, there was favoritism in my family. And I'm sure some of y'all other families had some favoritism, right? Growing up, I wasn't the kid. Good morning, I am Jacinta. I wasn't the child that got to go on the trips and shit. I think I went on one trip to Canada, but I wasn't the kid that got to go to Bermuda and shit like that. I always got the excuse that I was too young or too this or too that, right? And so I never developed a relationship with my family that lives in Bermuda. Ultimately, when I became an adult, I did go on a family cruise and I did meet the people in Bermuda that supposedly my family, aka relatives, okay? And I used to always feel left out growing up, right? That's where self-love was stripped from me. I started to doubt myself. I started to doubt where I belonged, where I placed in the family. Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve to feel like I was on the outskirts? Right? And when I had my son, of course, the only person in the family pregnant at 15, that came with a whole nother set of burdens. I already didn't feel accepted. So here I am, this kid at 15 pregnant. I remember when my baby daddy got on crack. I was about 17, 18. I'm going to say I was 18, about 18 by then. And he was on crack bad. And I didn't have nothing. Nothing. Ended up in the hospital, ectopic pregnancy, right? Came out the hospital. I might have been a size -0. I was hungry. At this point, I was begging for people to feed my son. I had no lights. I was in a bad place. And I packed up my stuff. And I said, I have to go live with my dad, or I have to go live with my grandmother. I always preferred living with my grandmother, right, over my dad, because I didn't want to live with my dad because they had a 1-bedroom apartment. I had a small child, they're weed smokers, cigarette smokers. It was just not the environment I wanted to be in. I love my dad, but that's not where I wanted to raise my child. I didn't smoke cigarettes. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't smoke none of that. I wasn't drinking at that time, none of that. And so I didn't want to raise my son around that kind of environment. And I remember, this is story time, and somebody in my family gonna be mad. Um, I ran to my grandmother and I said, I don't want to stay at my father's house, right? My grandmother had a 2-bedroom apartment. My uncle used to stay there. Grown ass man used to stay there. I mean, he had money. He had a job. He could have actually moved if he wanted to, right? And ultimately he did. He gave me his room, offered me his room. And I asked my grandmother if I could stay there. I begged her, right? I begged her. At first she said no. Absolutely said no. No, you can't. I cried because I did not want to live with my father. I had to go there for a short period of time. Okay. Ultimately, I don't know what changed. I ended up back at my grandmother's house. I don't remember exactly how that whole thing navigated, but I ended up living with my grandmother. But I always felt like an outcast, right? Okay, I'm here, but did she really want me there? Right? After a while, it was a very pleasant experience, but initially it wasn't. I felt rejected. I felt abandoned, right? And so when a family member calls me on the phone this day in current times and talks some bullshit to me, I will fucking cuss you out. Don't tell me how to feel. Don't invalidate my feelings. Don't do none of that shit. Okay? I lived with my grandmother for years, for about 3 years, where I went to school, got a job, and went back to college. And eventually I moved out and got my own place. But those 3 years living with my grandmother wasn't always pleasant. This is true story. My grandfather, who drank, we have alcoholism that runs in my family. That's why I haven't had, I take a week or 2 off from drinking because I have to temperature check myself because we have alcoholism that runs in my family. And so my grandfather, when he would get drunk, he would say mean things about my mom. And he would always come into my room and say it to me. I had to hear the meanest things said about my mom. And even though at that time, my mom and I were not close, I couldn't understand why, for the life of me, my grandfather would say such mean things about my mother, right? To me. Not only did he say mean things about my mother, but he said mean things about me too. And he made sure to remind me of the ones that he did love in the family. I'm not mentioning their names, right? But see, some of my cousins, either they try to ignore that happened or they don't know that it happened. I don't know. I'm not going to put that on them. But don't fucking tell me how to feel because y'all don't know what I lived through. You don't know what I had to swallow to be able to have a roof over my head to raise my son. I put up with a lot. I swallowed a lot. I kept a lot inside. But see, today, that's not me anymore. I had to hear my mother was a nomad. She was a hoe. She was a slut. She's ghetto. I had to hear all of that. Is that proper to tell someone's child this business? I never understood it. But then when I assessed how I was treated across the family, right? I said to myself, do they really believe this about my mom? Right? And so my abandonment and rejection started at a very young age, having to beg my family for a place to stay, having to beg them for simple help. And that's why I worked so fucking hard to be where I am today because you know what? I don't ever want to ask them motherfuckers for help again. My grandmother, rest in peace. I love her with all of my heart and all of my soul. But sometimes the parents that you were born from, they will treat you how they feel about your parents. Because how they treated me had nothing to do with me. And so it amazes me when my family members don't understand my pain or my frustration and they try to explain it away. Right? Okay, Smokey said, my mom's side of the family was cool. My dad's side is the fucked up side. See, mine is kind of opposite. My mother's side of the family is fucked up. My dad's side of the family, I tolerate. I love. There's a handful of them in there that I rock with. And then the rest I don't. Good morning, Hillbilly. I was talking about you today on TikTok, Hillbilly. You know? And some people look at me and they might feel like I'm harsh or being unloving or being a bitch. But I'm not. Good morning, Ghost. I am not. I am just telling my truth. I always felt like in my family an inconvenience. Right? Seriously. And so the next family member that want to call me on the phone, call me with some goddamn sense. Call me with some goddamn sense. That's a message. My dad was dying from cancer. I stopped my whole life to move to New Orleans to take care of my dad. And let me tell you something, Smokey. That, baby, that right there is everything. You stopped your whole life, went to New Orleans to take care of your dad. Not only did you go there, but you went there and you worked and you provided for yourself and the house that you lived in. Right? That's what family does. That's what family does. Absolutely, Shirley. You know how much pride I swallowed for my son, knocking on doors, asking people to feed him, begging for places to stay. The 80s was hard. And I've always said on here that the trauma blocked out a lot of my experiences in the 80s. And I get angry about that. I do. So don't call me questioning my feelings or invalidating my feelings. That will not get us off on the right foot. I don't give a damn who you are. I am 57 years old. I'm a grown ass woman paying all these motherfucking bills. Can nobody come in here, family, relatives, nothing, and invalidate my feelings? If they don't like what I'm saying, let's work on healing. Let's talk about it like grown adults without the defense. See, that's the problem. A lot of people would rather argue, deny, invalidate your feelings than to have a sit-down conversation and talk things out without feeling defensive. And the other thing is, don't worry the fuck about who I'm specifically talking about. If you feel that I'm talking about you, hey Marcus, if you feel that I'm talking about you, then you discuss what you think you did. Don't fucking worry about A, B, and C, and D. That ain't none of your business. If I didn't mention names on here, it ain't none of your business. And the other thing is, for those of you that want to be wise asses and call me when I'm out getting my nails done and shit like this, if I fucking say that I'm out and I'm busy, I don't want to hear, oh, but your show is public. Yes, it's public when I fucking go live, when I want to talk. Okay, not for you to call me in the middle of my massage or my nail appointment and try to tell me that you want to talk. No. Join Coffee with Friends and talk on the fuck here. Or call me back when I'm free. See, I don't have to talk on anybody else's time. Another message. Okay? Brian said his brothers and sisters were there but barely came by. My cousins never came by. I had to reach out to them and come see their uncle, and they in the same city. What the fuck? That's that ghetto shit that I'm talking about, Brian. That's that ghetto shit that I'm talking about. Now, one of my family members came to see me when I had the catheter hanging out of my pussy. Not one. My girlfriend Jennifer came. My girlfriend Tanya came. That's who came. Nakia came. Gilda came. None of them are related to me by blood. Not one. So when I sit on Coffee with Friends and I talk about my shit, either listen or don't. Step into their room of accountability or don't. But don't fucking call me on no bullshit. You know, I posted something on Facebook, and you know, my cousin John Storm, that's my cousin, by the way. If anybody read his comment that says I'm a grandmother, yes, I am a whole fucking grandmother with 3 grandchildren, 22, 10, and 5. And I don't give a fuck. I still said what I said. Hillbilly, you ain't never lie. They say milk is good for your teeth. Minding your own business is too. It is. But I have an open door policy as long as you come through the door with some fucking sense. That's it, and that's all. See, so many of us, see, the Black community has been trained to keep secrets, trained to fake the funk that the families are good. I'm not faking no funk. I will not be the woman sitting at the table with somebody who touched me growing up. If anybody in my family touched me and they didn't, thank God. If I was sitting at the table and that motherfucker showed up, the whole table getting flipped. I'm not that family member. I am not that family member. I will not sit in the same room with somebody who touched me. But see, in the Black community, we are told to keep secrets about the trauma that we experience in our family because families don't want nobody else to know. But that tells me that you don't give a fuck about the people in your family because you're asking them to hold the trauma. You're asking them to carry this baggage. What kind of love is that? This is why we are reading all about love, because see, people misuse the word love. That is not loving each other. That's providing simple care. But loving someone would not have them holding on to a trauma and keeping it a secret. That's not love. And love isn't calling me and having a fucking attitude about how I feel. That ain't love either. Good morning, Pat. It ain't. See, these mornings I got to come out the box with this shit because, motherfuckers think, listen, I'm not afraid to lose people. Okay? Know that. I wasn't afraid when the man that lived here, who used to pay a portion of the bills, not 50%, maybe 30%. When his 30% of the money walked out the door, yes, I was scared. That's why when I give Aquanda advice, it ain't advice because I ain't been there, baby girl. It's advice for your peace. Do you need the $400? Is the $400 worth your peace? It wasn't worth mine. Take your money, your little 30%, and go the fuck on, because my peace is worth more than that. And even though I shitted my guts because he left me here with a bill, let me see if I still have. Let me see, because let me tell y'all something. I saved one of my bills just so that y'all can see. Y'all can see, look, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna show this real quick. That was his name. Wait. That was his name. Can y'all see it? Right? I just showed the last name. Right? That was his name. And this was how much the bill was by the time I got to it. $1,098.45. Right? I started hustling. And I made a note for myself that said I paid $525 toward that bill in June. And I had a balance of $999. I got stuck with this bill. I keep it for memories because you know why? Message for Aquanda and anybody else that tries to deal with motherfuckers because you can't afford it. Guess what? I eventually paid that bill down. And even though I was stressed, and even though I didn't know how I was going to make it from one day to the next, guess what? I'm here and my lights are on and my Wi-Fi is still going. Peace is better than having somebody in your face that's toxic, paying some of the bills. It's not enough for me. And so I'm not afraid of losing people, and I'm not afraid of struggling. I'm not afraid because I've lived in survival mode all my life. Yes, I hope to come out of survival mode one day. And this is the blessing and the curse of the Black woman, right? Because I have to be in survival mode because I am the only caretaker of me. And so when family members come around and people that did me wrong, and this is why I have trust issues, because I don't trust people for what they say. I only trust people based on what they fucking do. So this is a message for anybody else that want to call me on the phone. The fuck? Call me with some goddamn sense. May 27th, because May is the month of awareness, all right? May is the month of awareness, so here we go. I am now receptive to the idea that a spiritual path is a heart-centered path that cannot be found in a book. Intellectual spirituality will not save you, for the smart asses out there in the world who think they're smart. People often turn to the spiritual path in an attempt to find deeper meaning of life. People usually look to the things spiritual in order to gain a better understanding of things physical. The search may begin with a book or a seminar or a profound personal experience that leads to the reading of a book or attending some sort of gathering where things of a spiritual nature are discussed and explored. Usually what is read or what is heard strikes a chord somewhere deep in the inner self, and the person knows they are onto something. This onto something feeling usually results in the reading of more books, the attending of more seminars, and a broadening of the search to discover more materials that will deepen the feeling of being on a spiritual path. It's nice, and it may be fulfilling for a while, but ultimately it can become an intellectual rather than a spiritual experience. This is not to say that you should not read things of a spiritual nature, nor does it mean that you should not attend events with the intention of broadening your spiritual understandings. This is to say clearly and openly that reading books, writing notes on index cards, professing to know what you have read and written will not save you. Knowing what to do and doing it are not the fucking same. Reading leads to knowing. Doing leads to experience. And only your own experience will ultimately save you. Until today, you may have believed that all you needed was an in-depth knowledge of spiritual principles and ideals. Just for today, practice grounding your spiritual philosophy in your heart. Don't forget, ask the Holy Spirit to assist you in discovering whether or not you are on the path that is most beneficial to you. Key word, on the path that's most beneficial to you, not to everybody else. Today, I am devoted to getting grounded on a spiritual path that is heartfelt and heart-centered. And that's where I'm at. Heartfelt and heart-centered is the path that I'm on. Right? You know, I used to get so irritated when they said just reading spiritual stuff doesn't mean anything. You have to apply it. You have to experience it. You have to enforce it. You have to do. Right? And I used to get so irritated when people would be like, oh, just go pray about it. It'd be all right. I was getting so mad with that phrase. I'd be like, fuck you. I can't just pray and then lay down and think it's going to be all right. I have to do. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And so I've always known that my platform will cause contention with people. But my truth is my truth. And that's it. So what are we talking about today? Chapter 6. Living by a love ethic. Y'all are almost catching up to where I'm at in the book. Chapter 6. Values. Living by a love ethic. What does that mean? Anybody want to take a stab at what they think that means? Living by a love ethic. Anybody? I'm going to go get my water because I'm having a hot flash. Nobody took a stab at that? Living by a love ethic. What does that mean? Let's see what the book says. Chapter 6, all about love. Values, living by a love ethic. We must live for the day and work for the day. When human society realigns itself with the radical love of God, in a truly democratic paradigm, there is no love of power's sake. Marianne Williamson. Okay, Cheryl Lee said, if everyone lived by ethics, this would be a better world. If everyone lived by love ethics, this would be a better world. Well, Cheryl Lee, I know you read this. I love that. Hillbilly said, one ethic say, do unto others before they do unto you. Love ethic says, do for others before they do for you. Go ahead, Hillbilly. Anybody else? I love this. Love ethic, values, chapter 6. Values, living by a love ethic. What does that mean? What does that mean? Awakening to love can happen only as we let go of our obsession with power and domination. Y'all, did y'all hear that? Awakening to love can happen only as we let go of our obsession with power and domination. How many people are in relationships where one person just feels so dominant? That was my ex. He was like, do what I say, do what I say, do what I say. And I'd be like, And it was just so toxic. And then he would throw the Quran at me and be like, Allah said, I don't give a fuck. I was getting real disrespectful to his religion because he was trying to navigate our relationship with power and domination. And I was confused. I thought it was love. I was like, oh, he loved me. See, this is why we got to learn love. Because love can't exist with power and domination. It can't. If love is to become a social and not a highly individualistic marginal phenomenon, individuals who choose to love can and do alter our lives in ways that honor the primacy of a love ethic. We do this by choosing to work with individuals we admire and respect, by committing to give our all to relationships, by embracing a global vision wherein we see our lives and our fate as intimately connected to those of everyone else on the planet. Did y'all hear that? Committing to give our all to relationships, right? Committing to give our all to relationships. Love how you want to be loved back. Yes. Some people don't know how to love. So that can be tricky, Smokey. Because how I was being loved, I could not love somebody back that way. Because it wasn't love. It was power and domination. And see, that's why it's important for us to learn love, to know love, so that we don't end up in situations where it's more power and domination and we're confusing that with love. I know no one who has embraced the love ethic whose life has not become joyous and more fulfilling. The widespread assumption that ethical behavior takes the fun out of life is false. In actuality, living ethically ensures that relationships in our lives, including encounters with strangers, nurture our spiritual growth. Behaving unethically with no thought to the consequences of our actions is a bit like eating tons of junk food. While it may taste good, In the end, the body is never really adequately nourished and it remains in a constant state of lacking and longing. Let me tell you something, baby. This to me gets attributed to when you meet a guy and the dick is good and you fall in love with that love making skill, right? And you fall in love with how big and meaty he is and how tall and juicy he is. Behaving unethically with no thought to consequences of our actions is a bit like eating junk food. I call that junk food. Focusing on the dick, focusing on the body, focusing on the face. That's all junk food. What's on the inside? Now I'm guilty. Now, I mean, baby, I got to be physically attracted to you. You got to, I know some people be like, Robin, give the short men a chance, but it's just not my preference. I like tall men. Okay? I do. But sometimes me liking the tall men, it be like junk food. I get into it. I'm enjoying it. It tastes good. It feel good. But it be unethical as fuck. All because I was eating the junk food. Right? While it may taste good, and in the end, the body never really adequately nourished and remains in a constant state of lack and longing. And that's where I was in my last relationship. My last relationship, he wasn't 6 foot. Okay, I do have exceptions, okay? He was like 5'11", but his muscles compensated for the height. He was like this, boom, bang, bing, bang. And if you're not 6 foot and up, then at least you got to be 6 foot this way. Like I don't know. It's just me. It's just my preference. You either got to be buffed the fuck out. And some of y'all know what my ex looked like, right? He was buffed the fuck out. And it was like junk food. But I was lacking nourishing on the inside. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel full. I didn't feel nourished. I was surviving off of the junk food. Hillbilly said, good morning, Chalk. Hillbilly said, ethics are ruled by emotion that makes it dangerous. Yes! Pat said, one of my main mottos is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. No way can you go wrong. You know, I treat people how I want to be treated, and motherfuckers still act stupid. But that is a good motto. Our souls feel this lack when we act unethically, behaving in ways that diminish our spirits and dehumanize others. I was diminishing my own spirit. I was dehumanizing myself by accepting less, by being in a relationship that was driven by power and domination because I didn't know love. I know love today. I'm learning love. And this is why I be navigating in my relationships like a snail. Because I need to make sure that I'm not eating the junk food. I need to make sure the choice that I make, the relationship that I land in, is not junk food. I needed to have substance. I needed to nourish me. I need to feel safe. I need to learn to trust you. Great question, Hillbilly. Hillbilly said, is love the opposite of hate or just love that's been broken? Anybody got an answer for that one? That's a good one. Is love the opposite of hate or just love that has been broken? What are y'all thoughts? What are your thoughts? Sharon Lee said, right at Hillbilly, and our emotions are usually shaped by a false society. And as Ross said, and power and domination. Mm-hmm. People are so focused on controlling their significant others in relationship that they lose sight of love. They're so focused on changing their significant other that they lose sight of love. And if you don't know love and if you don't have self-love, you will fall right into that madness. Welcome to the candy shop. You know, junk food. Here is another example. If you go door to door in our nation and talk to citizens about domestic violence, almost everyone will insist that they do not support male violence against women, that they believe it to be morally and ethically wrong. However, if you then explain that we can only end male violence against women by challenging patriarchy, and that means no longer accepting the notion that men should have more rights and privileges than women because of biological difference, or that men should have the power to rule over women, that is when the agreement stops. See, what this says is you can ask a million motherfuckers about domestic violence and they'll be like, no, it's wrong. But then when you get into equal rights, equal leadership roles in the house, you know, women and men have an equal say. Challenging patriarchy. Stopping the wars between men are supposed to be over women and vice versa. Stopping all of that, then people get dumb. The agreement stops at that point. So in one sense, you don't agree with domestic violence, but in another sense, you don't agree with women and men having equal footing. There is a gap between the values they claim to hold and their willingness to do the work of connecting thought and action, theory and practice to realize these values and thus create a more just society. Up until this very day in 2024, we are still talking about the man's role is this, and the woman's role is this, and the man is head of household, and the woman's supposed to do what the man say. We are so fucking stuck on power and domination that we forget the basis of love. Fear of radical changes leads many citizens of our nation to betray their minds and hearts. Yet we are subjected to radical changes every day. We face them by moving through fear. These changes are usually imposed by the status quo. For example, revolutionary new technologies have led us to all accept computers. Our willingness to embrace this unknown shows that we are all capable of confronting fears of radical change, that we can cope. Obviously, it is not in the interest of the conservative status quo to encourage us to confront our collective fear of love. An overall cultural embrace of a love ethic would mean that we would all oppose much of the public policy conservatives condone and support. Society's collective fear of love must be faced if we are to lay claim to a love ethic that can inspire us and give us the courage to make necessary changes. How do we make changes in our society? How do we make changes? Right? Society must be organized in such a way that a man's social, loving nature is not separated from his social existence, but becomes one with it. If it is true, as I have tried to show, that love is the only sane and satisfactory response to the problem of human existence, then any society which excludes relatively the development of love must in the long run perish of its own contradiction with the basic necessities of human nature. Hillbilly said, I disagree. Men and women are different. One size fits all doesn't work. Until a woman has to register for the draft and worry every day that they'll have to go kill or be killed, it won't change. See, it amazes me how, and you're right, Hillbilly. I agree with you in there in that point. But it amazes me how this is why in 2024 we are still battling the sexes, right? Because men, even though women ask for equal footing, right? Men will go to this level and say, but you don't have to sign up for the draft. Or you want to be equal, go the fuck to the U-Haul truck and pick up that heavy ass box. See how men get petty? You want to be equal, go do it yourself. Go wash your own car, go do this and go do that. But if we led with love, will we even be thinking about stuff like that? I don't know. But I hear you, Hillbilly. Love as a process that has been refined, altered as it moves from state to state, is the perfect love that can cast out fear. As we love, fear necessarily leaves. Contrary to the notion that one must work to attain perfection, this outcome does not have to be struggled for. It just happens. It is the gift perfect love offers. To receive the gift, we must first understand that there is no fear in love, but we do fear, and fear keeps us from trusting in love. That's me. That's me. Fear keeps us from trusting love, baby. I struggle, right? And I love love. I do. But my experiences with love has been so shitty. Not only from a significant other perspective, from a family member perspective and all that. Right? The choice to love is a choice to connect, to find ourselves in each other. Shirley said, I had to think about that, Hillbilly. Hate is always love broken. Sometimes it can be indifference. True. That's true. Sometimes it can be indifferent. This is chapter 6, y'all. Okay? Embracing a love ethic means that we utilize all the dimensions of love: care, commitment, trust, responsibility, respect, and knowledge. In our everyday lives, we can successfully do this only by cultivating awareness. Being aware enables us to critically examine our actions, to see what is needed so that we can give care, be responsible, show respect, and indicate a willingness to learn. Understanding knowledge as an essential element of love is vital because we are daily bombarded with messages that tell us love is about mystery, about what which cannot be known. Love is a mystery in which cannot be known. We cannot, that is an unknown. That's because many of us do not know love. Right? So when you assess your relationships, think about how love shows up in your life. Right? Love cannot exist where power and domination is. So if you are in a relationship, whether with a significant other or family members, and you feel like it's based on power and domination, then you need to go back and learn love. Because it says here, domination cannot exist in any social situation where a love ethic prevails. Jung's insight that if the will to power is paramount, love will be lacking is important to remember. When love is present, the desire to dominate and exercise power cannot rule the day. It cannot. So how do we move forward and live our lives with love ethic? I'm learning myself. I am. Because the next time y'all see me shouting to the winds that I'm in love, I need to know that I got the shit right. Pat said, Hillbilly, it's the men that caused the draft in the first place. All fetus start out as female, then break off and become male. Actually, female is superior, just saying. Mm. Mm. You're going to start an argument on here, Pat. You're going to start an argument on here. They don't want to hear that. They don't. You know? To live our lives based on the principles of a love ethic, showing care, respect, knowledge, integrity, and the will to cooperate, we have to be courageous. Learning how to face our fears is one way we embrace love. Our fear may not go away, but it will not stand in the way. Those of us who have already chosen to embrace a love ethic, allowing it to govern and inform how we think and act, know that when we let our light shine, we draw to us and are drawn to other bearers of light. We are not alone. Here come Ghost. Cheryl Lee, you know they gonna be mad. Y'all gonna start a fight. Ghost said if females were superior, y'all would run this planet, but you don't. Oh, I guess he told us. Didn't Beyonce say, who runs the world, girls? Who runs the world, girls? Didn't she say that? Didn't she say that? Ghost said, and women outnumber men by trillions, but yet it is what it is. You know, it reminds me, it's funny that you say that women outnumber men by trillions, but yet it is what it is. It's almost like the plantations and slave times. When I watch these slave movies, right? And I'll be like, damn, there's hundreds of black slaves on this plantation and like 3 white men with guns. And yet we are fearful, right? I was watching Alice, the movie that Keke Palmer is in the other day. AG and I was watching it at his house. And AG and I was like, what the fuck? Like all these slaves and there's only 2 white men with guns. Like, why didn't all these slaves stand up and beat the fucking white man down? Fear. It wasn't because they couldn't. Fear because someone said that's how they were supposed to act. Hillbilly said, I don't buy into the superiority. It's just 2 entities. To me, it's like saying trees are superior to grass. Good one, Hillbilly. Pat, please let them know. We do. And we absolutely do. We absolutely do. Men are so superior that I've asked my ex, I'm raggedy. I tell everything is, a lot of shit on here. My ex still, I went and checked my mailbox. I'm really bad with checking my mailbox, and AG made me go check my mailbox. I hadn't checked my mailbox in a month. My postal guy is probably cussing me the fuck out. So I went to check my mail, and I had all this mail from my ex in there. And I was like, how many fucking times did I say, change your address? You don't fucking live here. Okay? And some people might be like, damn, Robin, it's only mail. You see how hard I shook my damn head? If you get mail here, sir, contribute to the bills. So what did I do? I got tired of writing, you don't live here anymore. I just toss it in the garbage because I'm tired. I don't open it because I'm not trying to get no federal charges. I just toss it in the garbage because you don't live here. Wait, Cheryl Lee said, is because most men lose their lives running around here trying to prove they are superior. Oh! Hillbilly said, our wars that created a need for the draft was to protect our families. It might not be that now, but that's where it came from. It came from there, but do we keep it there? Or do we change? See, we always reference the past and how things were in the past. Because it happened in the past does not mean it's right. Right? And we have an ability to make change. Pat said, Hillbilly, a tree is superior to grass. Let me know the grass that lives as long as a tree. Y'all gonna have these men fighting y'all on here, right? A love ethic. It's just something to think about in your relationships with your significant others, others, depending on your lifestyle, and your friends and your family. Are you moving with a love ethic, or are you moving with domination and power? Oh, I know that's right. Send me some. Send me some, Hillbilly. Send me some. Send me some. I love it. Okay. We got a debate going on. I like it. All right. Don't worry, Hillbilly. When I come to West Virginia, I'm going to taste the mushroom. Oh, Lord. I love mushrooms. I do. Smokey said that's true as Shirley, but nowadays it's the youngsters with the macho shit, but get locked up and want to cry. I never understood that. I never did. I never understood that. You do a crime and then you cry when you get arrested and have to go to jail. I know it's hard, but that's the outcome you have to expect when shit like that happens. I cried when my son went to the Who Scout. And when he used to write me sad letters, I'd be like, uh-huh. But look what you did. Pat coming for you, Hillbilly. Pat coming for you, Hillbilly. Because men cut the fucking trees down. Trees, grass, humans, mushrooms, and insects are fighting for control of the earth. And the fucking mushrooms and insects are winning. As far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned. Okay? So the message today is, there was 2 messages, right? Month of awareness. I am now receptive to the idea that a spiritual path is a heart-centered path that cannot be found in a book. Okay? You have to live your life. Do. Not only just read and believe, but do. And live life with a love ethic. Baby, chapter 7 is about greed. I can't wait to get to that. Okay? Hillbilly said to build women houses, y'all got... Hillbilly, you damn right. Because listen, when I watch Naked and Afraid and they be in them caves with the bats, I be like, build me a house. Shit. Build me a house. You right, Hillbilly. Build me a house. Shit. Man the fuck up. Strap up your boots. Right, Smokey. Listen, just wait patiently for your commissary. I remember my brother, he used to call me and complain about the fact that he got arrested, and I would just get a fucking headache. And I would say to him, and I would say to my son, the cops don't bother people that's minding their fucking business. Now, I know the cops are on some bullshit, but if you wasn't on no bullshit, they wouldn't be looking at you. Right? I'm just saying. But that's my message today on Coffee with Friends, y'all. Today is hump day. It's normally question and opinion day, but I'm going to get through this book. All right. We're going to get through this book because if for nothing else, we're going to try to learn about love. And even after we get through this book, it's your responsibility to deep dive into what love is, right? Reading from a book is one thing, but doing and it showing up in your life is another thing. And that starts with you. Showing yourself love, understanding self-love, so that when you go to give somebody love, you are giving it from a loving space and not from a place of toxic, not from a place of domination, not from a place of power. You are giving it from an authentic place of love. And I love love. Right? I do. Cheryl Lee said, for real, in nature, it isn't about the superiority, but it's the ecosystem keeping us going. Exactly, Ghost. I'm not fucking. Listen, that's why I be writing. You don't live here. Don't live here. But you know, Ghost, I'm protected because when he left, I called my leasing office and had his name removed off my lease. You are not on my lease. The only person on my lease is Robin A. White. That's the only person on my lease. All right. And they raised my rent $100. And I start paying that $100 increase on April 1st. My rent goes to $25.50. So I be goddamn if somebody gonna get mail here and I ain't gonna make a big stink about it when you ain't putting a dime in this roof. $25.50 is my rent, and that don't include my other necessities. Electricity, water, and care for my car. Cable, Wi-Fi. I was on a call with a finance company, one of my financial accounts yesterday, and they were going over my income, and they were like, "You pay that rent by yourself, or do you split it with somebody?" I said, "I'll be damn. I wish I was splitting it with someone. I pay it by my damn self." She was like, "Oh." So no, you cannot get mail here. Especially the motherfucker that left me with $1,000 PSEG bill. Didn't care if I was living in the dark. I would never be in the dark. Again, I was in the dark at 17 in Queens. Okay, that was then. This is now. I'll be damned if I live in a whole house with a goddamn man and be in the dark. Oh, I was in the dark twice. Sorry, because I told y'all my husband, we were in the dark in the apartment when I came in and his ass was sleeping and my son was in the bed sleeping and I'm flicking the lights and the lights ain't on. See, that was twice I was in the dark. One, because my baby daddy was a crackhead. Two, because my husband was too busy fucking other women and spending his excess money on these women and on his custom made suits and shoes, and the lights got put out. That's not love. I know, Cheryl, don't worry, because I know no superiority in nature. It works together. It does to help keep us evolving. I know the autocorrect and stuff really messes it up, but I try to read around it. No worries. All right. So this is about knowing love, loving yourself. Start with yourself. If you're not in a relationship right now, before you get into another relationship, work on self-love. What does that look like for you? And what is it you want it to look like from somebody else? Food for thought. You don't have to navigate love the way you were taught. You have all ability to change it if the love you were taught is toxic. You have the ability to change it. Hillbilly said, men really do love them women. We'll do anything. Some men will do anything, Hillbilly. Not all. Some men will do anything. Some men will do anything. Not all. Okay? And so that's my message for today. But I do have an announcement to make, y'all. And so let me just say this. Oh, I keep showing that plain old bland picture, but Friendsgiving 2024. So far, we only have 2 people at O. Aquanda, you have made the payoff list. Thank you so much for paying off your trip. So the 2 people who still have a balance on here is Chicago and So Blessed 2021. Okay? And so today is the 27th. Your balance is due by the 31st. So here I go in the inbox on IG asking the 2 people to pay up their balance, right? This is not a bad look so far. Now, $250 is what it cost the majority of y'all to be in the house. Some people paid more because some of us are getting there a day before, and some people have their own rooms. Okay, so they paid for that accommodation, right? And how you got your own room was based on medical conditions and the need for privacy, not just because you ask, right? This Coffee with Friends, our Friendsgivings and our get-togethers is about being together as a family, which means that when we rent these houses, we rent shared, we are in a shared space. We are together as a chosen family. People will be sleeping in the same rooms. So if you got poor hygiene, fix it. Because don't nobody want to smell you. Right? But we did accommodate for people who need privacy for certain medical situations. Okay? And they paid for that privacy. Okay? I will be getting there the Thursday before, along with, the Fancy and Debbie and Nut. We are going in the day before. Valerie is also in the day before. Thursday, when I get into the house, I will be putting names on rooms so people know what rooms they will be in. Now, even though I'm hosting, I am more than happy to share my space. I am. I have good hygiene and I smell good. You can sleep in the bed with me. It's all right. Okay? I'm just saying. Okay? And so 2 people, so we're doing really good, y'all. So I'm going to be jumping in the inbox and asking these 2 people to provide me with dates as to when they are going to pay their balance. After the 31st, I am more than able to invite other people to this house to take your spot if they pay their $250 up front. So if you do not want to lose your spot in the house, make sure you communicate with me over the next couple of days as to when you're going to pay your balance. Okay? All right. And so with that, we pretty much got a full house, y'all. Whether they come or not, we got the money. Okay, this house cost almost $4,000 to rent. $250 a person is not bad at all. And that includes your food. Now, if you eat special food and you need special shit, then come with extra money so that you can get that extra shit, okay? I'm not serving lobsters and shit, but if people want lobsters, then that's an extra donation for us to go and get shit like that. And we are asking everybody to contribute 2 bottles of whatever they drink, okay, to the house, because $250 does not cover your liquor, okay? That cover your food and your juice and your water, okay? We got a full house. Cheryl Lee said it can also be dangerous if they get in trouble with the law. They can come and test your house, check your house up because it's the address for the person. Ask me how I know. Learn lesson. Right. It's annoying. Okay. That's the house. Now, for all those that are going to the Dominican Republic, you've paid your $50. I'm going to try to pay off my trip next month. Get this trip out the way. I'm going to try to pay this off because I still focusing on trying to get this money for this case. I'm working on that diligently. Okay. Very, very hard. And I got to get this trip out the way next month so that I can focus on scraping up this $20,000 for this trial that I got coming up. God willing, I'm going to get this fucking money. God willing. Okay. So if you're going to Dominican Republic, make sure you are clicking the link in my bio. You are working with the travel agent on here, Aspire to More Travel, aka Avia. You are getting your shit together for this trip. We're going to have a good time. This trip is only a couple of months away, y'all. Only a couple of months away. And I got to start ordering my bathing suits and shit. And, you know, because I can't have repeat bathing suits. So I got to figure out what bathing suits am I going to wear in Breathless. This is an adult resort. So I might have some thongs, y'all. So don't judge me. I mean, I did wear kind of thongs in Cancun. Like, if they're not thongs, they be so small at the bottom, they go up my ass anyway. Listen, I might be topless. I might have a thong on. Anything is possible with me. So if you're going on this trip, just know anything that you see or hear in Dominican Republic, it stays there, okay? Don't come back here flashing no pictures of nobody or nothing like that, because you will have a lawsuit on your hands. So be grown and sexy. Come on this trip. We're going to have a good time. I promise. All right? I know. So now do I have to text this motherfucker and tell him again to stop getting his mail here? Like, I've been saying this for 3+ years now. I'm so fucking aggravated. Yes, Hillbilly, I love that. Everyone be kind to someone today. Yes. After I said I'm so fucking aggravated about this mail, thank you, Hillbilly, for reminding me to be kind to someone today. All right. And with that, y'all, I'm out. I got to go because I got work to do. Today is Wednesday, and I got some digging to do because I'm like in money mode. So I gotta be able to scrape up these funds, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to be as creative as possible over here. But you know what? God never fails me. He always provides. And I believe that it's going to happen. One way or another, it's going to happen. Okay? No matter what, it's going to happen. And with that, I'm going to send y'all out with some positive vibes, because you know, even when you feel...
Even when you feel low, you can still go.
And you can.
Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And I don't. This is Coffee with Friends, and I'm on to T-Bone. Move with peace and love, y'all. Learn how to love yourself, self-love, and move with a love ethic. Get this message. Hustle hard. Yes, Pat, I do.
Wanna be a slave, I've been doing shit
My way.
on the highway, and in the driveway, it's nice range, 'cause I'm down through the climb, I ain't got pain. You never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta
I've done all of that, Pat.
Anything you want, anything you need.
And the only mail that come here for him is his job mail. But I just like, oh, and his kids' medical mail. It's annoying. Because that's all connected to his job. I never answered. I'm about to call the fucking MTA and be like, this nigga don't live here. But anyway, y'all, I'm out. Peace.